Mushroom behind? Maybe? No? Oh.
And we're
Never
starting.
mind. There it is.
Everything that lives is designed to end. We are perpetually trapped in a never-ending spiral of life and death.
So in this first part of the run, it is mostly just a timed section. It's just gonna be kind of fly around, kill some enemies. Nothing really too interesting here. You can speed it up a little bit depending on how quickly you clear the waves, as the enemies will be in waves. So the next wave will not spawn until the previous wave is gone. So there is a little bit of time save here. A lot of it is just timed until we get into the real meat of the game. So it'll be interesting to see. There are some little strats here regarding the AI around us. It'll be interesting to see which ones actually see some use here.
Yeah, so prologue overall, there's not too much time save in the optimized route. Which does not say that there's not a lot of time to lose. You can lose a lot of time if you mess up, but yeah, until one of our runners makes some major difficulties, they should be, I think, about the same speed during prologue, I think.
Yeah, it should be about the same speed. Both runners are going to be taking hits on purpose here from the lasers. Very minor time save. It's to clear out the large and medium recoveries in your inventory. This allows you to quickly scroll through your menu when you're trying to get to attack buffs, which will be used on the boss fights. I believe both runners will probably be using them on both of the Marks fights.
Multiple surrounding enemy air units confirmed. Requesting permission to assume mobile
Yeah.
configuration.
So you can now see the second configuration of the flight unit. We will switch, or we will be switched between those two configurations multiple times in these shoot 'em up sections. Yeah, but basically it's the same thing. Kill every machine as fast as possible.
Captain, I think 4B down. 2B to Operator 6-0. All Allied units down. The operation is compromised. Awaiting further orders.
Operator to 2B. We need you to rendezvous with Unit 9S and begin gathering data on the local terrain.
Understood.
So they're inside the factory now, trying on a last couple of waves, again to just clear them as fast as possible. Some of those waves are pretty simple to do fast, some can be a little bit tougher. Especially the fidget spinner, how we call it, if that's the spinning enemy on Litz's side right now. And also B1ackGoldSaw. That one can be pretty trolley and annoying, but they both got it done pretty clearly.
Yeah, if the fidget spinner decides to spin, the reason that's so bad is because by spinning around, the blades on the end will actually cancel your projectiles. So the only damage you'll be dealing is from your melees. Not so great. It's a minor time loss, but it's not something you like to see. This is going to be more into the actual. The majority of the run will be more in this 3D combat setting. Both runners will be using the same attack over and over again. That's because, for some reason, inputting a heavy attack with a short sword and the heavy attack slot with a dash prior to it just makes the game decide to do ridiculous amounts of damage.
Yeah, if you do that with the correct timing, which isn't too difficult, you get 5 times the amount of damage that that attack is supposed to deal, and that's a ridiculous amount of damage.
Pretty clean marks from both.
Copy. No.
Oh, I've got.
All right.
Yes. That was Marks, the first boss fight, and yeah, they're done with it. They're pretty clean. They're up to the first skip now. It's called Crane Skip. You're supposed to shoot that crane, that metal bridge thing down and go over it. But we jump on top of it and then on top of the crane and skip a little bit of movement. Not too difficult, but also doesn't save too much time.
What is it?
I'm trying to remember how much it saves. I timed them a while back. I don't have my timing sheet open, but I remember being rather surprised by how much Crane saved. I think it saved like close to 20 seconds.
Nothing's ever
Yeah,
easy.
something like that. Maybe half a minute.
So these flyers here that both runners will be dealing with, these waves are not very much fun. They tend to like to get really far apart. So ideally you want them to kind of want to run around in circles and try and get them to group together a little bit, just so that you can try and hit at least 2 to 3 of them with your pod program.
Yeah. They can be pretty annoying.
Yeah.
And Littz is now at Bridge Skip. Bridge Skip is
I'm glad you're here.
one of the most difficult skips in the game. So let's see how both of them do at it now.
Emotions are prohibited.
It's a
Yeah,
very
Littz got
tight
it.
timing.
Sorry, man.
Littz got it, I think, second or third try. And B1ackGoldSaw is also
To be it is.
Yeah.
across it already, so...
Pretty clean
yeah, they're
skips.
pretty close, time-wise. Like also struggling a little bit with the out of bounds there, apparently.
Oh, there it is.
But yeah, there he is.
This out of bounds can be the one that GoldSaw is doing right now can be a really weird out of bounds. There's a lot of little pillars that you can get completely stuck on. Both runners did not have the unfortunate run to be stuck in those. It can lose a good chunk of time if the game decides to put you in a really bad spot.
Yeah,
Both of them making it out of there pretty clean.
yes. At the moment they're about 20 seconds apart, which is basically nothing. Especially since you can easily lose that amount of time on the next boss fight that we have coming up right now.
I surveyed the entire
just
factory,
due to
but
pure
couldn't
RNG.
find anything resembling our target.
Maybe they, I don't know, moved it somewhere? There should be another facility across that bridge. It's a bit of a hike, but should we check it out? It's not like Command to get a location. I guess even they get bad
Oh,
intel from
no.
time to time, huh?
Looks like GoldSaw was a little unsure where the angle swag is. He was actually on the second set of stairs. It's actually done from the first set of stairs.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I'll just take him out.
So Littz is now on the second Marks fight. This time there's 2 of them, but it doesn't really matter. You only need to kill them half the way and you progress towards the final boss of the prologue section. So Littz is now on Angles. Angles is a pretty boring boss fight for the speedrun. The first phase that both of them are on right now is entirely on a timer, so you can do whatever you want and it won't change the length of the fight. No matter how much damage you deal or what you do, what attacks you get. That changes a little bit later on.
Yeah,
Because
there's
in the next...
one attack in particular, and this entire fight actually makes a difference for timing.
Yes, and a huge difference. So, because at the start of the next phase, the first attack that Angles does only one attack, and depending, he can do a fast attack and he can do a slow attack, and we want him to do a fast attack.
This is the target.
And
Destroy.
Littz got a fast attack. All the range attacks are good, and all the melee are worse, and the attack that we call punches, where Angles does a lot of repetitive attacks, that is the worst, losing over 20 seconds compared to optimal RNG.
We currently have a little bit of a civil war going on here, and Littz has chosen left pipe here, the worst pipe. Does not save any time. Pipe is just to get you out of range of Angle's attacks. He can't hit you here as his attacks are 100% scripted into a target location.
Yeah. And GoldSaw also going for left pipe. So maybe we're seeing right now what the superior pipe is.
No.
Best pipe still is iron pipe, but not an A ending.
I don't know if I
Sadly.
can commentate this run anymore.
With both of them going left pipe, you mean?
Yeah. Both going left pipe. Shame.
Yeah, as you can see, left pipe or right pipe is a very serious matter in the NieR speedrunning community. Yeah, we also have an entire text channel on Discord that dedicated only to that discussion.
Curious to see. I think GoldSaw goes for the double lift here. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So what Littz had a little bit of issue with, and what GoldSaw just did there. That's the first instance of a double lift. Using a jump and a heavy attack will do kind of an upward stabbing motion that gains a lot of height. Typically, the game only allows you to do one, but with the way the game is coded, you can kind of check, or you can kind of trick the game into thinking you're still on the ground by lifting while facing an upward slope or a raised kind of platform. And by doing that, you trick the game into thinking, oh, you never did a lift, so you can do another lift. It's a little bit of a... it's not really a confusing strategy, but some of the geometry of the game does make it a little bit difficult to pull off.
Yeah, and they're pretty close now. There is another instance of RNG mattering, because at the moment we're waiting for the end of the dialogue. And at the end of the dialogue, we need to wait for Angel's current attack animation to finish. And since his attacks are RNG, you can have more or less luck with how that attack aligns with the dialogue. So you can lose up to 11 seconds to bad RNG once more.
Yep. It looks like GoldSaw got the worst there, right as the dialogue ending. Engels decided to pop off a missile attack. 1540 prologue from Littz. That's a pretty solid time.
Yes, and GoldSaw is pretty close to finishing off Angles right now with a
Very nice.
barely below 16, so that's less than 20 seconds difference at the moment.
Yep.
Littz is now on the setup after this loading screen. That's basically the game's introduction into the settings menu. A pretty awesome introduction on a casual playthrough, I think, but pretty annoying for the speedrun.
I have noticed something here as well. There will be even more discrepancy as normal on the times here. GoldSaw's timer is actually on RTA. I'm not sure if maybe he has RTA on top like I did for a while. I don't know.
It is RTA, yeah. Okay, yeah. So seems like we caught the wrong timer once more.
9 minutes, stop.
Huh?
There's no.
Oh, the command. We better.
There is a minor dialogue skip here. This that Littz just did the heavy attack through. You can skip this dialogue. You can save a couple seconds if you do it optimally. A lot of runners will opt not to do it, as messing it up is a large time loss. By interacting with 9S, you can actually just walk through the dialogue trigger so that the dialogue never actually triggers. And instead you're just talking to 9S. Oh, it looks like GoldSaw is going for it. There we go.
Hey, 2B, why do you think they sent a combat model like you to a recon job? If all they want is intel, we scanner models are built for that kind of thing.
Orders are orders.
Alright, alright.
There's a couple strategies here for this fight segment here. Coming up on these waves that Littz is coming up on now. I believe Littz has been starting to go for the little, yep, there it is, yep. This is what I would call the strat. By rapidly flicking your aim up and down, it can clear that wave extremely quickly. It doesn't feel like it's really a consistent thing for me. But
yeah, no,
it can really clear. It can clear really quickly.
Canaris had an instance with that strat where he basically killed all of the entire wave instantly as they spawned.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not the very most consistent thing, but that's not too bad.
So the scary thing with this opening shmup, it's a little scary here for GoldSaw here. After the prologue, you lose all of your items except for your short sword. So all those recoveries you had left are gone at this point. So you'll see the grayscale here. That's due to the fact of being at a low HP, and he has no way to heal at this point in the game. So it's a little bit scary.
According to our intel, none of the machines in this area are hostile. We've been seeing more and more enemies like this lately. They just stand there and stare into space. It's pretty weird.
Okay, just took a look at GoldSaw's stream, and it appears that both of his timers are RTA timers.
Oh, are they? I didn't even notice.
We should probably go talk to their leader first thing.
Well, at least they're the right
They-
timers. Like, they're at least matched timers.
So, yeah. Some messed up life split settings apparently, so...
At this point in the game, everyone's favorite part of just any video game in general,
This must have
the
been quite a
glorified
city once upon a
fetch
time.
quests.
Too bad vegetation's
Yeah.
gone most of it now.
Unfortunately, these 2 fetch quests are required in order to progress with the story. They are the only 2 fetch quests that we will do in A
This
ending,
is 2B. Nothing to
at-
report.
just for the reason that we need to continue.
Good?
It's fine. Does that question have anything to do with our operation?
Not really. I just figured it might feel nice to have some good weather.
Feeling nice has no bearing.
That should be enough. Let's get these back to the trader. Plant life has claimed most of the central area. Big plants, too.
Report. Records show that
I
vegetation
think Littz has actually been going for the shred I use here. Yep, he has.
Wonder if there are any
He ignores the biped in order to hit the stubbies first, and then the biped runs back towards you. It can put the items extremely close together. Doesn't look to have done quite so well for him. Oh.
He missed the 1 drop, they got it. And yeah, Littz is now finished with his 2 side quests, heading back to the resistance camp. And one nice thing about those side quests is one of them actually gives us all the materials that we need to upgrade our weapon to level 2.
I don't think they're a pain.
Yeah.
Oof. GoldSaw's scaring me here. Oh, oh my. Literal 1 HP here.
Yeah.
A death here would, I believe, start you over from the post-bunker shmup?
No. You are spawned on the ground, I think. But I'm not sure. I don't.
I can't remember where it spawns you, but fortunately that's not a complete run reset. But there is like a little bit of a checkpoint.
Pod 042 to operator. Coordinates confirmed for location specified by resistance leader.
Understood, 042. Placing marker on target. The desert heat is going to make resupply efforts difficult, 2B. Please make sure you're ready before you go.
So Littz is now heading towards the next section of the game, the desert.
The worst section.
Yeah, probably.
So touching on the movement here, what you see both runners doing at this point, this is what we refer to as a dash swing. Dash swinging is a very small margin faster than dash punching, which was not touched on, which was being used in the before we upgraded the sword to level 2, and then just dash chaining, which was used primarily in prologue. over the course of the run, you can save probably about 20-25 seconds from dash swinging. It's not a huge time save, and messing up even a single one is pretty costly. But it's faster, so of course you got to go for it. Littz just did his first buy of the run here. There's a lot of things that happen there. First buy of the run, so buying weapon attack ups, ranged attack ups, a sachet which allows the animals to stay close to you and not be immediately scared away from you. One animal bait, which will be used later, and then the biggest buy there, one resilience chip, which will be equipped later, and it allows you to no longer stagger from enemies as long as you're above 80% HP. And then picking up the transporter, and then that will be used after this segment. This out of bounds is just slightly faster due to the fact that you're not zigzagging around all these rocks. You get to take it just a straight path to your destination.
So, yeah, Littz is now heading towards picking up the pod C. The pod is the little robot flying behind you and shooting stuff. And it actually has a special attack. On the ground it's the laser. At least for the tournament, there are others that we do not unlock in the speedrun. So it's the laser on the ground, and it's the missiles in the air. And by picking up the second pod, we get a second charge of those special attacks because the pod programs, because they have a cooldown, and each of the pods has a separate cooldown. So yeah, that's why we pick that up. It's not too far out of the route, and it's quite useful.
It's like, Littz got a pretty good stupid rock skip there.
Yeah, that's almost as good as it can get.
Yeah. Yeah, the robot there can kind of decide sometimes, I don't want to jump underground, which is required. And he'll just kind of stand there and let you look, just look at him. This is actually a segment where GoldSaw could pull into the lead here. Littz doesn't take the housing district skip as he's not too comfortable with it. I believe GoldSaw usually does. Housing skip can save, I believe it's around 45 seconds.
Yeah. GoldSaw's stupid rock was not too good, but still better than not getting any distance at all.
Yep. Got about half of it.
Let's get him.
So Littz is now heading through the desert housing complex towards the pit. B1ackGoldSaw is not going around the concrete wall and going through concrete walls instead.
Yep.
And I don't recommend trying that in real life. Concrete walls usually are more solid than this, but I definitely recommend trying this in the game if you own it. It's really fun.
Oh. Some of these skips can be a little weird with the cameras out of bounds.
Multiple machines detected ahead.
Looks good here.
Yeah, so B1ackGoldSaw got the first part of the skip. He decided to void out. You can do it without voiding out, but it gets a heck more precise, and he missed the platform there, so he needs another attempt.
I'm not exactly sure. Oh,
Nope.
I hope he knows the recovery here.
Yeah, that looks bad.
It's looking like no.
Yeah, that is really bad. So what happened is he missed the required trigger on the platform, and he's now stuck down here, and there is a recovery from this, but it involves a couple of pretty difficult high and long jumps. So you might have to reload a save.
I'm not sure he knows the recovery. Fortunately, it is a lot easier as he did get the first trigger.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he knows the spot to go up though.
I don't know it myself, so I don't know if he's in the right spot right now.
This is the method to go up for the if you miss the first trigger, which means this would also work.
Yeah, so he was on the on the pause menu for a second there, so I guess he looked it up. Yeah, so
There we go. He's got it.
yeah,
Good.
he basically got back up there.
Good.
So lost quite a bit of time there. If he had not failed that, they would be basically on the same pace now. But since he failed it, he's now a couple of seconds behind.
So going to things we've missed here, what GoldSaw just did there, switching the weapon set 1 to be identical to your weapon set 2, which has your bare fist and your light attack slot and your short sword in the heavy attack slot. This is the required weapon layout in order to do the damage glitch, and by putting it on both sets, you can throw one damage glitch, swap weapon sets to the other weapon set, and then throw a second sword, allowing for 2 swords to be spinning at the exact same time that both do about 5 times damage. Fights become pretty trivial. HP bars disappear.
Yeah. And once you practice it a little bit, it isn't even that difficult to execute.
Yeah.
It stopped. Looks like we're safe now.
What the hell just happened?
I know. I've never seen a machine like that before. We better report this to command. Let's move to an area with better reception so we can contact command.
Oh, that's scary. Ooh. GoldSaw SD'd a little bit early there. Typically you SD or self-destruct right before the cutscene. By doing that, you get extra kills, which that fight is the primary spot that we can get attack up or critical chips, which are very nice to have. By SDing a little early, you actually...
there apparently. Yeah, Littz had some problems clipping out of bounds there, and decided to just do it the normal way, with pushing the box down.
Okay, this is good.
You can clip through that box, and
9S to bunker. Do you copy?
even do some
Go ahead.
skip the dialogue that's playing right now.
A pair of humanoid machines. We weren't able to capture them. But I have
And that's also the use for the transporter that was picked up before
Hopefully you can get something out of it.
by
Yes.
GoldSaw. I don't believe Littz picked it up. I think he just goes around. I can't remember. I know from yesterday, I was watching him yesterday and he was going around, but It does save a minor amount of time still to clip through the box if you get it quickly.
No.
Yeah. And picking up that transporter most of the time is a good idea,
Data upload complete.
especially in a race setup like this, because if you fail the Atom Pit skip like B1ackGoldSaw did, and if you, unlike B1ackGoldSaw, don't know how to get back out of the pit, you have to reload your last save, and that either is that transporter at the beginning of the desert, which is pretty bad.
I heard something about that.
I think that's about 10 minutes time loss. Something like that.
Location confirmed. I'm worried
Yeah,
about
it's a
getting
good
back to
amount. It's a good
Trevor.
amount.
Should probably
You
check
know,
this
It's a
out.
pretty good
Looks
amount,
like our
but
surface route's
if
been
you
cut
don't
off.
pick up
Maybe
that
we can get through from
transporter,
underground. So 2B,
your last
those
save
machines out in
is
the desert
before the
look
start
just
of the
like
run.
androids, right?
So
But we
that's
androids were
30
modeled
minutes
after our
time
human
lost.
creators. So why
Oh,
would
yeah.
machines
So
try to look like us?
you really, so the
There's no
first
point trying to
thing
work
is
out
you really don't want to mess up
problems.
that
I suppose.
desert housing skip. And the other thing is picking up that transporter always is a good idea. But Black also got the out of bounds and has some problems with the movement there.
And the floor here is a little bit tricky.
What are those?
It's a lot higher than you would think it is. There it is.
Yeah, so you can see him
Wow, this is weird.
walking there, saving and loading his save. That puts him at the transporter and skips the dialogue.
Where does this corridor
Littz on his
end?
side is now going through the amusement park and is also
We're getting resistance
opting to
signals
not
from that
do
building
the out of
over there.
bounds strats in this one.
We need a way through.
Let's look around for a route we can take.
Okay, he is doing carousel skip now at least. That's good. So if you go that route, you can skip jumping all the way around that carousel.
Yeah, that high jump actually is not too difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah,
These machines are heavy. Do you really think
those
it's a good idea?
robots in the tank do not
They are asked to
approve of
highlight it as
our
a waste of time.
speedrunning skills, and they call this a let's play.
What's this?
Which is why in the normal route we usually skip that tank.
At high speeds for the purposes of amusement. It was commonly referred to as a roller coaster.
Humans sure are strange creatures.
So let's now on the elevator. That one is basically an auto-scroller.
People who know me well use
And
them all
B1ackGoldSaw during that is
What do you think?
making his way to the entrance of the amusement park on his own.
Call me Nines. It's totally okay. Oh, all right.
So Littz is entering the boss fight of the amusement park now,
Multiple
known as Simone or Beauvoir. It's a pretty good boss fight. B1ackGoldSaw on his side is doing the out of bounds strats known as Let's Play Skip for this, and
What the
he got
hell?
over the out of bounds gap first try. There's a pretty huge hole out of bounds that we need to long jump over, and it's a rather difficult long jump, so getting that first try isn't too difficult, and that saves him a good amount of time compared to Littz, who did not opt to do that. Littz got a pretty clean first phase, and is now showing on the hacking minigame. And if he optimally, that will be the only instance of seeing the hacking minigame in the entire speedrun today. That hacking minigame is very present in the B ending of the game and also the C ending,
They are dead. They've been turned into weapons.
but not in the A ending, and A ending is the only thing we will play in this tournament. And Littz actually got a hack once more. Those crucified android bodies can try to hack you, and each time you get hacked you lose time because you don't get any benefits from it, but you lose the time that you spend inside that minigame.
I'm going to try to hack it back. Keep it busy.
You got
A ending is the first of the 5 main endings in the game. So there are 26 endings in total, but only A till E are the main story endings, and the other endings are kind of joke endings.
Failure to destroy it quickly may lead to serious damage and
So in theory there are other endings that you can get earlier than A,
Thanks.
Oh,
but not
I think
is the first of the major story ending.
so.
What is it?
That machine had some pretty weird things to say, huh? It's almost like it had actual emotion.
The machines don't have feelings. You said that yourself.
Yeah, I guess.
So we saw Littz self-destruct at the end of the fight there. There is a reason for that. So, like the Souls games, when you die, you leave a body behind, and it normally will it will drop, or your body when you die will leave EXP gained and plug-in chips that you have equipped. Which this is the reason why we have not equipped any of the chips that we got from the Atom fight in the desert. Here we're doing a quest where we're going to come to Pascal's village, pick up an item from Pascal, deliver it to Resistance Camp,
So why don't
get a
they
new
shoot
item
us
back
or
that we're
aliens
supposed
who
to take to
created them?
Pascal
Attack the
again.
bunker directly. They originally came
But
here
by
from outer
dying
space, right?
outside of the Resistance Camp, it actually will respawn you back in the in Pascal's village with your quest triggers intact and your your item that you're supposed to deliver. So it's the one and only instance of a death warp in the run, but it does save a pretty sizable amount of time.
Yeah. So how dying this game works is, like Marvel's already mentioned, it respawns you at the last point where you saved, or in some instances it respawns you at the last major story point if your last save is too far in the past. And it leaves all your story triggers intact, but you lose all your equipped plugin chips and all the experience that you gained after saving the last time. And yeah, we don't have any plugin chips equipped at this point, and we also don't gain any experience between Pascal's village and the Resistance Camp, so we don't really care about those two disadvantages of dying, but we do get the death warp, so that's why we go for dying there.
Let's had a little bit of a buggy boar there. He got kind of stuck on that rock. Oh man. Ideally, you actually want a boar here. It is faster to hop on a boar than it is to ride a moose. Jumping on a moose is very, very slow. I guess the moose just never skips leg day, so he can jump way too high.
The lack of music that's mentioned in the chat, that's because a side effect of the low HP state that Littz is in right now.
Yep.
So
And here, the moose that helped us get to resistance camp so quickly. Just, you know, just sometimes you just need to die.
Yeah, it's
And those-
the animals are most of the times are really nice. They do get us to the resistance camp pretty quickly, and then they also get us back to the village really quick.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So yeah, they are pretty strong, so they kill you fast. Another reason why the animal at that point is pretty useful.
What's that noise?
But on the other hand, the animal can also be really trolly, and
This is an
instead of
emergency
killing you,
transmission
just
from
run
the
away.
bunker. We're reading a Goliath-class enemy inside the city ruins, and it looks like there are a ton of other machines there with it. All Yorha units should proceed and engage immediately.
A Goliath? This was a trap. I knew it.
I promise you, we were not a...
2B, Command is deploying new flight units for us. They just sent the coordinates.
So you remember that big machine at the end of Prologue? Angles. He's back. And he's actually, there's two of him now, and they're inside the city ruins, so we need to kill him. Or
Probably
both
shouldn't
of
get
them.
near that guy's feet. Yeah, no.
And yeah, on the right side you can see bar hopping, so that's the optimal movement that we mentioned earlier.
The flight units should be on the roof of that building up ahead. It'll be dangerous, but we're not going anywhere unless we pass through that Goliath's legs. We should be careful.
And yeah, so for the first of the Angles fights in the city ruins, there is a skip. So I don't know if Littz is going for it. We will see, I guess.
He has been lately, and then he typically, if he messes up, he'll go for the backup a couple times. Oh, he got
And
it.
he
There
got the
it
double
is.
jump one.
Nice.
There's two ways of getting out of that fight. The first one is just the double jump, a precisely timed double jump that Littz did there. If you mess that up, there is a high jump that you can use, but that one is not too easy, since you have to do a pretty difficult high jump while being attacked by angles. So really good that he got it on the first attempt. So the second fight is pretty quick. You use two pod programs and he's basically dead. With the buffs, you could still see the HP bar of the boss, but yeah, so that's the HP bar of the first boss, so that's why you could still see it.
Yorha, this is your commander. For the first time in centuries, we've intercepted a signal belonging to the aliens. These are the creatures that are in direct command of the machine lifeforms on this planet. If we can destroy them, we can end this long and arduous war once and for all. Our intel team is hard at work attempting to analyze the source.
But it seems to be underground. Like way underground.
Guess we'll see once we get there. If we're lucky.
You're not much
So
for
here,
targets,
Littz is
are you,
coming up
Terry?
on the Alan and Steve fight. It's a completely timed fight. Normally, you're just kind of confined to the arena. I'm not sure. I've seen Littz practice and tried for this before. I'm not sure if he really knows the escape.
What is this place?
I don't know.
It doesn't save a ton of time.
It doesn't
really
save any
just
time.
It's really just to save the time on movement on the way out. But it's very, very minor. I don't think it even saves a full second, but...
Look out!
My name is Adam. The aliens you seek are no
Um,
longer here. They were wiped out centuries ago by us.
And yeah, we just
Machines.
We don't have a loadless timer for B1ackGoldSaw because of his layout, so we just resynced the stream on the RTA timers. So now both of them are showing their real time without the loads removed.
The intelligence within our network began to surpass that of our creators. You'd probably be surprised at how quickly it happened. You destroyed
I didn't even see if GoldSaw got the double jump or he did the backup. He did get the skip. I don't know which variation, but very well done there.
They held no value to us.
And then on Litz's screen, getting that one kill during this phase, or this fight, will give you a free level up. If you kill him once in this, you get a level up from the kill, and then you also get a level up for the end of the fight.
What could possibly drive such behavior?
So it's nice to get a free level. Oh, so close.
You were made in their image after all.
Assist you with what?
Let's
Yes,
almost made it out there.
We need you to locate the humans
Yeah.
on the moon and
But again, escaping there doesn't actually save time. You get reset after the cutscene, so you can pick up some extra experience. Or you can pick up the titanium alloys if you try for upgrading the sword a second time.
Yep.
Upgrading the sword a second time is not a consistent strat. A lot of the materials are depending on RNG and random drops from enemies, so by far no guarantee of getting that. And also it does make combat easier and faster because you deal more damage, but it also changes a lot of the out of bounds clips that we have
Stop complaining.
in the game.
Yeah.
So if you're not too comfortable with the different strats that the level 3 sword brings with you, it's not worth trying for that.
About time we had access to those.
Care to fill me in?
Transporters? They let you transfer your consciousness to a temporary body back in the bunker. I heard some tech guy.
Hey, you're coming up. Next time you see.
So still, their flight you.
And GoldSaw is pushing Eve around? I didn't know that was possible. So Littz is now going to the bunker and giving a report. If I did not miss him doing that already. Yeah. And now he's heading back to the city ruins and going to the forest.
Why don't we rest a little bit, 2B? It's been a while.
I'll rest if I feel like it.
Littz is coming up on the final buy of the run here. I believe Littz goes with the defense buffs here. Most of the runners that I've noticed, at least in this tournament as well, a lot more runners have opted to take the defensive buffs here. At least for the tournament. They are a lot safer. They are a little bit slower. You do have to menu to purchase them. You do have to menu to use them, so you do lose time using the defense buffs. They are very, very consistent though. It's hard to have a bad fight when you have defense buffs.
Yeah. So basically, if you have defense buffs, the only way to die is by running, having the buffs run out and not realizing it. So you don't have buffs anymore. With the buff active, actually dying is pretty hard.
Yep.
And Littz is doing map skip apparently.
Yeah, he's been trying lately. The double lift off those stairs can be really tricky. Uh, I've even had runs recently that I've had issues with it as well. It's a really weird slope there. A lot of times the game just doesn't seem to want to let you have a double lift.
Works just fine.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah, I don't go for that skill at all.
man, this job
There
can
is
wear you
a
up
slightly
sometimes,
slower
huh?
but
We don't get to
way,
choose
way
our
more
assignments.
easier strat
You should work on keeping your
involving
opinions in
just
check.
a simple
You're
transporter.
allowed to be
No.
emotional, remember?
I think some
Also,
of
if
us
we
are
use the
better at
transporter,
comms.
we get to hang up on 6-0 once more. So,
This
poor
must be the
6-0.
commercial structure Pascal was talking about. The records say it was once a facility known as a shopping center.
Nope.
Maybe. If
Oh.
we were human, we probably would
Oh,
go
let's mess
shopping
up the
and such here,
dialogue.
right?
Skip.
More meaningless conjecture.
He's a little bit far
Uh,
away from it.
You're so serious, 2B. You know that?
Yeah, he went into the actual choice dialogue. He pressed A once too often.
Yeah.
Or B. So basically what he was trying there is by talking to your partner while walking while you talk to your partner and
Well, what do you expect?
by walking
I'm a skater.
into the
How bad should
at
this
the
get?
dialogue
This is
trigger
running away.
while that dialogue box is open, you entirely skip the dialogue.
Now let's see what chips he's got here. Ooh, pretty good chips here. Can you fit it? Yep, good. 2 crit plus 1 chips is pretty good.
Yeah.
I actually don't even know the percentages, but I know that's
4%.
Looks like the forest is
4%.
just ahead.
Yeah, so the way the game goes is critical hits are always in the game, but you obviously will not have them unlocked unless you have something that gives you % chance to crit. So without having any critical chips, you can't actually critical hit, as you'd have a 0% chance.
Yeah.
Criticals are huge, as they do
I'm aware of how to
about 500% damage.
I will, 2B.
In conjunction with the 5 times damage from damage glitch and the increased damage from taunting, which was also not touched on, but damage really can pile up.
Yeah.
Going back to taunting, by mashing your flashlight button,
Don't listen to what they're saying.
the enemies' heads will turn red and steam will come out. They do an increased amount of damage to you, but you also deal an increased amount of damage to them. So it's kind of one of those double-edged sword kind of deals.
Yeah. So on the optimal, that's per hit is 5 times damage from the damage glitch, 5 times from a critical hit if you get lucky, 50% extra damage from the taunt, and 2 times damage from the buffs. And yeah, all that piles up to a huge amount of damage. So that should be, I think, 30 times damage. If my math's not, math's not stupid, if you get a crit, and again, that is 30 times damage on each hit that you do with the spinning sword, and that is a lot of hits. So yeah, that's why we go through all those boss fights way faster than most of you probably did in their casual playthroughs, even if you had a higher level and better weapons. Because that multiplayer is just insane.
I don't think I actually ever use attack buffs in my casual playthrough.
No, I did not.
I can guarantee I never use taunt.
I never use taunt because the game does not tell you about taunt until way later in the game, and only on a different character. And even there, I didn't use it.
Yep.
And yeah, there's a lot of strong things in this game that you probably never use in your casual playthrough. offensive and defensive buffs might be one. You probably never used self-destruct. I never did. I think I had self-destruct disabled until I started practicing movement techniques for the speedrun. And self-destruct is one of the most broken mechanics in the game. And we don't see that much about it in A ending. But for example, there's a movement technique called spear dashing that involves just mashing the self-destruct button.
Let's go after her, 2B.
Yeah. What's so scaring me there? Some of those heals, they're really late heals.
Well, then I hope you didn't watch the mashes around yesterday.
Oh yeah, I saw the end of that. I was terrified.
Those heals were... He was like at half health most of the time and not using heals.
Yeah. So with the way taunt is, half health on a lot of the bosses, it's not actually enough health.
Yeah,
they can
especially
still
on the end
typically
boss.
kill you. Yep.
The end boss, I think, with in the last phase with defense buffs and taunt, it's a 2-hit.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. GoldSaw is going for the Rainbow Road here.
Let's stay sharp.
Oh, he forgot to pod launch. No.
I think he tried to, but he couldn't. He messed up the timing on the pod launch. But it seems he's going for it once more.
The skip is one of the more technical skips in the run. It saves about 4 seconds over the Mario Kart skip. It is
more fail.
A much more technical skip. A lot of runners still opt to do the older strat, even higher up on the leaderboards. A lot of them still do.
Yeah,
you lose a large chunk of time from messing this up.
Don't forget it.
Yeah, especially in race setting where you cannot reset if you mess it up too often.
Oh.
And Littz just now did probably the easiest out of bounds clip in the game. You just jump in between those boxes and you're out of bounds. I really recommend trying that one at home if you own the game. It's really fun.
Yep.
And Littz opting for the easier Flight City skip by not trying to void out and doing the second jump and instead just walking through Flight City normally.
The bedrock here was bombed out in the last war. Looks like the whole city is starting to sink as a result.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Let's take him out already.
Apparently GoldSaw got Rainbow Road with a heavy hold instead of the dash swing.
So, like GoldSaw going for a safety save before the A2 fight. A2 is a scary fight, so I really cannot blame him for that. Littz on his side, finishing the short fight, and is coming up to the definitely most interesting part in the entirety of this speedrun, and I totally do not mean that,
just
in case you couldn't tell. It's the most boring part. It's easily the most boring part. That's because it basically is a 15-minute long auto-scroller. So, yeah.
Just what you want in a speedrun.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you want to get a drink, get some food, some popcorn, eat some lunch, go to the bathroom, you know, this is your time. This is your time.
Maybe watch BlackGoldSaw's A2 fight here, but after that they're both at Gruen. Not much to do. And if you like breaking games and if you want to earn some money, we have quite the bounty set out to find a skip for this boss or this section. So you find a way to skip the Grun fight during the New Game A ending speedrun. You can easily earn over $1,000 with that.
Yeah, we're over 2,000 at this point.
Over 2,000.
Yeah.
We definitely need a tracker for that.
And
a pizza.
Yes, and a pizza, homemade by Tech Theist in chat here. Yeah. Homemade curry pizza.
Yeah. He will get angry if we don't mention the pizza. So, over $2,000 and a homemade curry pizza shipped to your home.
We've come under heavy fire from the enemy.
Oh no.
Our escort ship has taken damage and is unable to engage. We're currently resisting with all remaining support fighters, but we can't hold them off for long. I repeat, this is Carrier Blue Ridge 2. We need immediate backup from any available android forces. Picking up a large-scale enemy inbound. Looks to be 2.8 clicks southwest of us.
Littz is coming up on the Goliath flyer, kind of the precursor to the Disco Whale. You really see the power of having 2 pod programs on this fight. Typically, I don't remember how long it took me, but it took me a very long time casually to finish this fight. Whereas in the speedrun, a quick 4 pod programs makes very easy work of it.
Yeah, I took quite a few attempts on that boss fight in my casual playthrough. One of the reasons being that the game never tells you about the quick menus, so I couldn't use any recoveries in shmup sections. Which is kind of stupid, both on my end and the game's end. Because there's the shortcut menu and the quick menu, in addition to the main system menu. And I only knew about the system menu, and yeah, that is the only one of the 3 menus that you cannot use in the shmup section. So, yeah.
On GoldSaw's screen, we see him actually doing the version 2 Flooded City. On the first part, you're just getting the cutscene trigger and then voiding out. By voiding out, it'll respawn you on the last solid ground you were touching, which happens to be back up top, out of bounds and behind the resistance camp. And from there, you can plunge into a separate drown zone that will respawn you right down on the bottom of Flooded City, right where we're supposed to go to kill these enemies. It does save a pretty sizable chunk of time over the first version. It is a little bit more difficult.
It's way more difficult.
It's a timing thing. There are a lot of
I mean, you have to be rather precise for that. While the version that Littz does is, if you know what you need to do, it's basically free. No. It's just as the thing that Littz did is just as simple as jumping down there. While with the other one, you have to be rather precise to get the cutscene and the correct drown zone.
Now we have 2 people in the sleeping accommodation.
I don't actually know if I ever commentated the race in the tournament that was this close, with both of them being at Grun. for the same time for this long.
It's unfortunate. You kind of don't have anything to say.
Yeah.
Oh man. Littz is coming up on the cores here. So by killing you have to kill the 4 small cores in order to damage the middle core. You can do this in 1 rotation. It's pretty tight on the timing for it. You basically have to start moving from one subcore to the next before it actually even dies. It's a pretty tight window to get it there.
Yeah. But a clean fresco. Also, this is not how lasers work. To understand that statement, you need to play the game and watch the cutscene, but that's not how lasers work. That's not how light works.
Having trouble over there?
Are you Yorha?
Hunter Squadron deploying out of North 12th C Defense HQ. I'm the commanding officer, 4B. Don't worry, we'll take it from here.
Yesterday in the race, I had to commentate the entirety of Grun twice.
Oof.
And it was like, on the first time, I said everything there was to say about Grun, and also said everything about what Mesh was doing during that. And then Mesh got to Grun, and Dan was already finished, so yeah. I had 15 minutes of Grun without anything to say about it. So, yeah. Can imagine the level of commentary that we had there.
We only bring the best to the table.
Yeah.
Only the best.
Yeah.
Like, let's get a little bit early on that mortar shot, or whatever that thing is even called. I forget what they actually call it in the game. We call it mortar, but it is not. They call it like something weird.
No, it is called mortar.
Is it? I thought they called it like
a mortar cannon.
Something really weird. Like mortar rail cannon or something, or something weird.
Yeah, the Japanese name for it was pretty cool. I think we need to ask Ice about that, though. I don't remember it.
Yep. Against all popular belief, even most of the runners who run in Japanese do not know how to read it.
Yeah.
Hey, 2B, I think I have another idea. You keep that thing right where it is, okay? What? Please, 2B, this is gonna work.
That's an interesting level up there.
9S is leaving the front lines. Proposal: 9S should be reported to command as a deserter.
No! He has a plan. Just hold on.
I'm going to see if we can use those missiles back on the shore. But I need you to destroy the EMP unit on that thing's back. Otherwise, they're just going to go off course.
On.
Oh, actually, you know what? I do have something I can talk about here. So unlike most of our runners, GoldSaw actually really enjoys this fight. Even in the speedrun setting, he still claims to enjoy this fight. I believe he's one of the only ones. Most of the other runners, having done the run so many times at this point, it just sitting around doing the exact same auto scroller for 14 to 15 minutes is not exactly our idea of a fun time. GoldSaw's actually only completed, I believe, around 10, 15 runs.
Yeah, he's just not run the game for long enough.
Yeah.
Well, to be true, it's not like I hate the fight. It's probably one of the least favorite segments. At least it's pretty consistent and pretty decent. I mean, unlike stuff like Desert.
Yep.
Desert is way more horrible than Grun.
I agree.
Even with being not an auto-scroller.
The other thing, another thing, while we're on the topic of things that GoldSaw likes, he also likes 9S. A lot.
Well,
I feel like I needed to mention that. Just because I feel like people would get mad at me for not mentioning that in our community.
Yeah. He will, once he does more runs of this game, then that probably will change, I guess.
We'll see. We'll see.
Grun is always the same, so it gets boring after a while, and 9S is an annoying boy.
I agree.
So Pascal probably is worse than 9S, even though he's only with you for one segment of the game.
And Littz is out of the sleeping accommodation. This is now the time we get into some real meat. A lot of high density on skips. Some pretty tight boss fights. There's a lot of cool things that happen after that fight.
2B, are you alright?
Running system diagnostics. Core functionality
Here it's just kind of using some of the respawn warp zones. So by voiding out in the water, you can kind of respawn closer to your destination. There's a couple of them here. I believe he goes for the second one as well.
We're having trouble getting them back online, which means data uploading is currently unavailable in some areas.
Where's 9S?
Yeah.
So, the ones of you who played this game will remember now having a lot of searching for 9S and until you end up in the copied city. You don't actually have to do any of that. You can just straight go down to in the cave to the elevator and enter a copied city. And well, if you know how, you can actually even not go down to the cave and just go directly to the copied city elevator from the flooded city pipes. The way Littz is trying to do that now and got decently fast, I'd say.
Let's go.
That skip is not the hardest on execution, but it is definitely one of the most precise. A very tight angle in order to clip through that wall. It's probably my least consistent skip. It's a pretty new addition for Littz. I don't believe he used to go for it. He's been starting to a little more often, which is really cool to see.
This area is composed of crystallized silicon and carbon. Further,
What's with the corpses?
it is unlikely the Yorha units came this far on their own. Hypothesis: the enemy must have placed them here deliberately.
And Littz is here in Copied City fighting Adam. Adam likes to talk a lot. So fortunately we found a way to interrupt his dialogue. We can clip out of bounds here. It's a little bit weird on this. There it is. Okay. you can actually clip out of the arena and run back to the elevator. And with the dialogue the way it works in this game, you can overwrite or interrupt a current dialogue with a new dialogue. So by coming back to this elevator here, we can trigger a shorter dialogue that will interrupt the longer dialogue, which results in skipping the rest of this long dialogue. Very nice.
And Littz had a pretty clean mansplaining skip here.
I believe Littz is ahead of PB. Maybe.
I think Littz is.
Actually, let me pull up. I actually have his splits. I could look that up. Okay, I don't have all of his splits. I have some of his splits. Oh wait, actually, did he submit this run yet?
I don't have time for you. I need to find 9S.
Oops.
Ah, 9S.
He did. Okay, so let's see. His Atom 2 end was at 123.15. Oh yeah, he is well ahead of PB.
Real time?
Oh right, that's probably real time. You're right. That probably
Or
is real
loadless.
time. Or that probably is real time.
Well, real time is what we have on screen right now for Littz 2. So
Oh right. Yeah. You're right. I'm
I
pretty
just
sure
meant
it is.
if the time you looked up is loadless, then he would be even more ahead.
Let me get a more detailed look here. I'm curious because I think he might actually be like 2 minutes ahead.
So Littz seems to be a good amount ahead of PB. B1ackGoldSaw is behind.
Something tells me this is going to involve a lot of
Is
killing.
PB.
Proposal. Procure information from the machine life form known as Pascal.
By about...
Pascal, can you hear me?
Oh, hello, 2B. Do you need something?
Yeah.
I need to know if
So
any new trials
B1ackGoldSaw
or
is at this
behaviors
point
on
is
machines.
over a minute behind.
Well, 2 days ago, I was contacted by some machines that disconnected themselves from the network. They wanted to discuss a peace treaty.
No kidding.
Apparently, they're seeking to form an alliance of some kind with our village.
If that's what they want, why don't they move in?
I believe they're working
Yeah,
on building
the
a
splits I have for
colony.
Littz are actually, I can't tell if they're loadless or game time. Usually it has like a little,
I can give you the coordinates if you'd like.
like
Uh,
an
where do you
indicator
have
here.
them?
Myself, you know. Maybe
I
Where do
have
you-
him from.
you get
I
them
have him
from?
from his. I have him from his unverified
Target
PB.
location data obtained. Marking on map.
On speedrun.com, the thing that's listed below the run, that's usually real time.
Yeah, it usually
Checking
is.
that. So yeah.
I know it usually is, but I see like they changed the layout on splits.io, and now I'm confused. It looks weird. Like I actually went to the actual site to look at it.
Yeah.
He should be ahead, but I don't know if it's 2 minutes or 4 minutes.
It certainly does.
You enter the domain of God.
And Littz is coming up on probably the coolest skips in the game. He typically doesn't go for this skip, which I can't blame him. It's a very hard skip to get consistently. I believe GoldSaw will go for it. It'll be interesting to see. I know he's practiced it before. It kind of comes down to if he's feeling comfortable with it. There is chance to soft lock on it. So it'll be, ooh, he actually almost soft locked there.
So why are you still here?
Well, I brought you this far, didn't I? It's my duty to
A little
see
bit
this
of
thing
elevator
through.
sync, different elevators, but
Appreciated.
kind of cool.
Yeah. Elevators in this game. And yeah. Black also actually saved a bunch of time on that Cobbett City Club. So he's not that far behind anymore. Not that far behind his own PB, that is.
My name is Pascal.
So yeah.
I'm here to discuss the peace treaty.
Still the entire Cobbett City section's behind Littz.
Damn it!
I was right. This is shady. Fascinating, though. I've never seen machines with such unique perspectives. I wonder if there's a way to collect.
And Littz is opting to kill the mooks here. There is an out of bounds which will despawn these enemies that will allow the elevator to spawn immediately. The drawback to it is lack of EXP. You do lose all the EXP you would gain from this fight. On the plus side, it does save 8 to 10 seconds. It kind of varies on your combat, but it usually will save about 8 seconds. It's a nice time save, but being as this game is where you do have a level up system, and enemy levels are set to a set level. Being able to hit level 20 by the end of this run is a decent upgrade in damage. It does make the fights a little bit easier. Whereas if you skip the Mook's room, then you typically will be level 19, unless you go for a skip that was not shown here in this run. Yes, Littz looks to be about 2 minutes ahead. I couldn't tell what the splits I was looking at were RTA or loadless. The timer we're seeing on stream is RTA, so I'm not sure what his loadless time is. But he is a good ways ahead. The PB that he has is going off RTA timer. His PB is 1:44.27.
I don't think I can access his unverified run.
Oh yeah, I could. I'll link it to you real quick.
Yeah, send me a link to that, and I will check out how far ahead he is.
The door's open. Keep moving.
All right.
So, Littz is.
Oh, I didn't. I'm actually crazy. I just saw the timer that's on this page it shows as RTA time. So these are RTA splits. Because that's comparing against the picture that I have from Discord for his splits. So he is a very good chunk ahead. The crusher section that he's going through here, typically we can skip these with the deep factory skips. It's a very good thing that we can typically skip them. Learning the skip is a pretty tough hurdle to cross, but those crushers do one-shot you. Regardless of where it hits you, if it hits 2B's toe, then you are dead in one hit. The factory skips, when done optimally, save roughly a minute and a half. They're not easy to learn. They're very hard to learn. And Littz is coming into the Soshi fight. The start of this fight, Soshi has a barricade or a barrier around himself. This will negate all of your ranged and melee attacks. So we're kind of just waiting around. By getting up on top of this bridge here, though, as Littz has done, you kind of can avoid him. Just wait for the proper timing to come down and start damaging him. You're kind of just waiting around as 9S hacks Soshi from the bunker in order to turn off all of the power, which also turns off his shield, so that we can damage him normally.
I just shut down the electrical.
Enemy shield deactivated.
Littz is getting a scary attack here. Those exploded guys can be pretty scary. They do a lot of damage. And it looks like you made it out clean there.
Yeah, so at this point, Littz is, I think, 4 minutes ahead of PB.
Ooh,
A bit less.
boy.
3.5. Or is he? No, wait, I think I looked at the wrong split. It's 2 minutes. I'm sorry.
Littz has potential here to be sub 140. Oh, wait. Yeah, sub 140. He has potential to be sub 140. Pending
Sub
his
140
load
load
times.
loss, yes.
I forget if he goes for this lava skip. He does. Good.
Yeah, it's basically the same skip as in the prologue, but this time there is those suiciding machines around, and the auto lock on of the game can throw off that your movement there and push you into the lava, which costs you a bunch of time. So yeah, that's about
That was certainly something.
2 minutes 15 ahead of PB for Littz, so really good job with that run.
And it looks like GoldSaw went for the Mook's room skip.
No thanks.
Yes,
He
does
did
look
void
like it.
out an extra time, but
I'm heading back to the resistance
he
camp.
did get
What
it.
about you?
Yes, and that actually saved
I see.
him. He saved, I think, 50 minutes compared to PB on that. I'm having his splits open on his stream, and so he saved quite a bunch of time. So if he manages to pull off a clean deep factory skip, which he is apparently trying for, then he might still be able to catch up to PB.
Ooh.
I don't know how good his deep factory in the PB actually was.
Increasing like this.
There you go. That's good. So this is the first part of the second part if you did the Mook's room skip of the deep factory string of skips. Normally that elevator will lock behind you after 9S talks to you in the robot form. By voiding out, you reset the elevator into its downward position, which is where you're at, which allows you to ride the elevator back up to the Mook's room that you started in originally, which is I'm pretty sure it's the actual highest. If it's not the actual highest point in the factory, then it's very close. And you're going to clip out of bounds here. and plunge down towards. I think he's gonna. Oh, he's a little bit off on that plunge. Typically, you're trying to skate from trigger to trigger here. Ooh, he got it. Good.
Yeah, he got it. Good job. And even the difficult version of the skip, so that is pretty impressive. What he did there is he plunged down, jumped into a trigger, and then voided out inside the trigger without hitting the ground to get back up there. Having some problems with part 2 of the skip, apparently.
I'm not sure if he realizes that wall is invisible there. He looked like he was kind of trying to pod hover around it. You can actually pass
that's not solid. That's not solid. But I think he was pod hovering to ensure that he gets enough distance.
Yeah. And Littz is fighting Bogushi now. Basically the same fight as Soshi, except he can electrify the water around him and spawn stubbies to attack you. This is one of the fights that the resilience chip really shows off how good it is. Not being staggered by the electric shocks or the attacks that he throws at you is a huge nice thing to have. It makes combat extremely consistent and not quite so reliant on what attacks you're getting as it normally would.
They're still coming?
Littz is halfway through the
There's too many.
boss rush of the game. Four boss fights in very quick succession. He did the Bokushi fight, the Berserk Core 1 fight, and now he's heading towards the second Berserk Core. On the topic of a randomizer, it has been discussed a little bit recently. Not quite sure how we would do that, and there'd have to be a lot of restrictions on it. Part of the issue with that in this game would be how reliant we are on having a short sword in the heavy slot. Just for combat in general, it makes it kind of weird to have a randomizer. It would come down to basically whoever gets a short sword first has a very large advantage over the other one. The other part of it is we don't really care about items too much in this run. Most things we don't actually pick up.
Yeah. So, yeah, the only thing that you really could randomize is like weapon locations and chest items, but like Marvel said, weapons we wouldn't be able to pull off the stuff that we do in this the stuff that we do in the speedrun with if we have a random weapon instead of the one that we get, because the one that we do get is actually one of the best ones.
Yep.
The starting weapon. And for other items, well, we wouldn't actually care about them being randomized because we don't pick them up anyways. So, yeah.
And Littz is in the final fight of the run. He has 4 phases. The first phase here, there's one attack you're looking to skip, and it looks like Littz pulled it off successfully. Eve can do a jump into the air, and by doing so, he becomes very hard to damage. He's way up in the air, floating on platforms in that phase. It's very unoptimal for speedrun. Phase 2 here, you're just kind of just damaging him while 9 has hacks. And phase 3 and 4, he'll be flying around.
Unit cut off from network functionality.
On topic of the Link to the Past, it should be right after this.
Yeah.
It is. It's being streamed, and it'll be just right after this.
Yeah. And B1ackGoldSaw appears to have catched up a lot over the last couple of over the factory. I think he is, yeah, he's over a minute ahead now, almost 2 minutes ahead compared to PB, it seems.
Yeah, there is potential for both of these runners to PB.
Yeah, so both of them will, unless they do some major mess ups, both of them will PB by a lot.
Close range combat no longer operable.
Nothing matters anymore!
Uh-oh.
Alert. FFCS destroyed. Ranged combat no longer operable.
I must have been corrupted when Eve detached from the
So
network.
yeah.
This looks like this is probably sub 140 loadless for Littz.
It is definitely sub 140.
Because I believe that his loads are usually around 2 minutes. 2 minutes
Yeah,
long.
they will be more than 2 minutes. My loads are on English about 2.5 minutes. And my RTA is 142 something, and that's a sub 140. So this definitely good job, Littz, for that sub 140 run. And we have him here, so good job on that run.
Hey.
How you feeling there, buddy?
I don't know what happened.
You played really well. You had a lot of skips that you added in, and they actually look really good. Oh.
That's a 139.55 loadless.
Maybe just leave the audio on Littz here.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. Like, I played so close to my golds.
Yeah, that was a very good run. I was surprised to see you going for copied city skip too.
Yeah, I mean, I've been going for it lately, and I've been getting it really consistently, so I figured, oh, I might as well just go for it.
Nice.
I think today was like the most inconsistent I've been at it.
Yeah, it was really close in prologue. It was very close, and and then GoldSaw actually missed the platform on on the Atom housing skip. So it took him a little bit to recover that.
Didn't he die? I saw in chat. It looked like he died in the fetch quests.
He had like 1 HP left, basically.
Oh my goodness.
Like
man. And I got angle skip.
Yeah.
I finally got angle skip. I've been trying so hard to get that lately. God, this run's gonna suck to run against.
Hey, just, add more skips in.
I guess, dude. Because this is like just under 4 minutes from some of best.
It's a lot of time to close up, though.
It is.
That's like me.
They're
Wow.
still coming? What do we do? There's too many.
Yeah, very solid run, though.
I'm just speechless, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. That's how I was with my first major increase in PV time.
Like, That PB finished 2 minutes and 32 seconds ahead.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
And
That was insane.
I'm wonder. Hold on, I golded core 1, and I already have a really good core 1. What is that now? Oh, it hasn't updated. Hold on, I need to reset my timer. That's a 3477 core 1.
Nice.
Dang. Yeah, there's gonna be some hard splits to beat now.
Oh no! GoldSaw had core 2 land on Pascal's fence here.
Oh no!
Oh no! Ooh.
Insult to injury.
This is very close to PB for GoldSaw here though. I mean he's about 4 minutes ahead right now. Like not ahead of this current split, but like right now he has about 4 minutes to finish Eve.
It's gonna be tight.
Yeah, it'll be close.
Yeah. So, B1ackGoldSaw, unfortunately, apparently lost this. But he's more than 2 minutes ahead right now.
Very nice.
So, yeah, he will be done in about 5 minutes, I guess. So,
yeah, it should be about 5 minutes here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with the Link to the Past coming up here after, we'll not have time to bring GoldSaw in for a quick interview.
Yes.
But yes,
Probably
solid run. Yeah, solid run, and it's going to be close here. He has a chance to PB still.
He will
Definitely
PB.
does.
If he does not PB at this point, then he needs to really mess something up.
Well, thanks for having me.
That was a great.
Thanks for running in the game, in the marathon, and in the tournament. I mean,
Sadly, I didn't get the perfect record. I didn't get the 0-3 record, but
yeah, you messed that around. Maybe I will. I can take care of that. So
even next time. We'll get them next year, boys.
Yeah. So, since we're all only have a couple of minutes left at this point, I want to thank our runners for running in the tournament and participating. I want to thank my co-commentator Marbles for commentating this with me, so I'm not alone again. And
Yep.
Yeah.
And Canaris, Canaris for organizing.
Canaris for organizing. Also, everyone else who organized with him, but I heard that he did most of the stuff. So
yeah,
it was it was a lot of fun. So thanks, Canaris, for doing that, and thanks to Speed Gaming for hosting this on their channel.
Yes.
So, yeah. and BlackGoldSaw just entering the last phase of the final boss. And this is the final stretch. Less than a minute left for him. Again, sadly we don't have time for an interview with him because we have I think a Link to the Past waiting.
Yep, we've been gone a bit over here, but
and
oh, we do have time here.
oh, we do have time. That is nice.
We're being told we do have some time here.
Yeah, we just got the okay from Speed Gaming that we actually do have some time left for interviewing BlackGoldSaw too. So
yeah, this is going to be a PB here too. Nice.
Double PBs, oh wow.
Very nice. And GoldSaw's PB is about 3 minutes, it looks like.
And he got stuck in the Atom Pit. Man, he has so much time save.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
He got a relatively quick recovery. He only missed platform, so he got the first trigger, and then he got a pretty quick recovery out of it. So he didn't actually lose too much time to that.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if there were any other major time losses that he had. So yeah, this is...
Yeah, he had a very clean factory. Not very many issues with it. A couple void outs that weren't planned, but other than that, pretty solid. It was interesting to see though with the with GoldSaw going for pretty much every skip versus Littz, who kind of picks and chooses which ones he's practiced. So it was very interesting to see how much time you actually do save just from having really clean combat.
My combat didn't feel amazing this run either. Like, I felt like I was missing some DGs during the run.
Yeah.
So we have BlackGoldSaw in here, apparently.
I don't know, I just saw the message.
Yeah, so yeah. Good run.
The Rainbow Road in A2 went real bad after that.
Rainbow Road was pretty bad too. But overall, a good run. So, how much did you PB by?
About 3.5 minutes.
That's pretty insane. 3.5 minutes.
I messed up all of that mansplaining at the fight with Adam.
Yeah.
I couldn't get that clip out.
GG,
yeah,
NieR GoldSaw.
Yeah, GG Littz.